I'm here with Kess Entertainment, and I'm here to demo 2 of their board games. If you guys can introduce yourself.
So I'm Tony Thorpe. I was the lead game designer here on Sonic Speed Battle and our other Sonic game, Sonic Roll. Yeah, we've been working with Sega for a little while now. There's been some interest in some Sonic-related board game stuff. So we started with Sonic Roll, a classic Sonic game for 1 to 4 players. That was a bigger, crunchier board game for more board gamers who have that nostalgia for the old Sonic games. And then we needed a counterpoint to that with a lighter, kind of modern-themed Sonic game, a nice alternate to the harder game. And so we wanted to use the modern property for that. Shadow's coming out. It is the year of Shadow after all, so we wanted to get those characters in. So we have made a game themed after his original game, Sonic Adventure 2.
How do you feel about Keanu coming up as Shadow?
I'm excited for it. I think he's doing a good job so far. I know there's some discourse on it, but I'm excited to see what he does.
But yeah, no, I'm excited for this.
This is Sonic Speed Battle. As I mentioned, it is themed after Sonic Adventure 2. It is actually 3 mini games, all in the same game, all play with the same deck of cards. So you have, of course, the action race, the shooting battle, and the treasure hunt. Each game has its own set of characters, its own rules, but you all play with the central deck of cards. So in the action race, what you're doing is you are racing to 10 points here on your little score tracker. In order to get those points, at the beginning of a round, everyone is going to play 1 card from their hand face down in front of them. Once everybody has readied their card, they're going to 3, 2, 1 reveal. And if your card does not match anyone else's card, so this is a 2 and these are 3s, the number, then you don't have to do anything else, you just get a point straight away and you're done. If your number does match someone else's number, so these players both played a 3, then you get into a homing attack with that player. What that means is you have to take turns going back and forth, playing that same number that started the homing attack until someone can't play anymore. So that player plays a 3, this player responds with a 3, this player plays another 3. That player might say, okay, I'm out, I don't want to play anymore, I don't have any more 3s, which means this player would win the homing attack, and they would get a point for every player that started that homing attack. So in this case, 1, 2. When you do flip your card, you also get an effect depending on what suit you flipped. So if you flip over a spring, say, you would draw a few cards. If you flip over a ring, you get to attack other players and making them discard. So you can use those suit effects to try to get ahead, and the point of the game, again, is to get to 10 points first. Next, we have the shooting battle, which is a little dueling game where you are going to start with 6 life, and the point of the game is to knock out all of the other players in the game before you yourself get knocked out. On your turn, you're going to draw a card, and then you're going to pick another player to duel. When you do that, both you and that player are going to put a card face down. You're going to flip them over at the same time again, and the player who played the higher number does 1 damage to the player who played the lower number. After you do damage, whatever suit you played, you get to activate its effect. So if I do damage with a spring, I would get to draw 2 cards, and then your turn will be over. And again, you're just trying to knock out all the other players before you get knocked out. Finally, you have here the treasure hunt. In the treasure hunt, you are trying to get 2 Master Emerald shards before anyone else. You do that by playing cards into your radar. On your turn, you get to play 1 card. When you do that, you have 3 slots in your radar. If you do not have that suit in your radar already, you just place it into any empty slot. If you do have that slot or suit in your radar, you would play that into the same slot you've already put that suit into. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to build the number sequence over here in one of that slots in order to take that Master Emerald shard. So if on my next turn I played a 3 of spring, and I now have a 1, a 3, and a 3, there's a 1, 3, 3 right there. At the end of that turn, I could go ahead and put that Emerald shard into my radar. And now that shard is locked in, so I only have 2 radar slots left to use to try to get a second shard. The first player to 2 shards is the winner in that mode, and yeah, and that's it. That's Sonic Speed Battle. So yeah, so this is Sonic Roll. It's our 1 to 4 player cooperative board game where you're taking the role of Sonic and his friends trying to stop Dr. Eggman. In this game, what we're going to be doing is on your turn, you are going to be building a dice pool using one of your 3 available character moves, and you're going to be using the dice in that pool to spend over here on the zone cards to make our way through. So say, for example, if I was Sonic and I wanted to use my spin dash. That move says I roll a red and a blue dice. I add that result to my dice pool, and I keep doing so until I have 2 numbers in my dice pool that match. So there we go, I have 2 6s, and now I would stop, and this is my dice pool to use for the rest of the turn in order to make my way through the zone. In order to make your way through the zone, what you have to do is you have to spend a dice 1 at a time on the leftmost open spot, and all you have to do is match the number exactly, and if there's a color, you'd have to match it as well. So you can choose to stop early and discard your dice, but in order to do that, we have to take a time token. And if we take all the time tokens off the stage, that's also game over, we time out. So the point of the game is to try to get to the end of these zone cards, in which case we would clear it, replace it with a new one, and you would get the reward at the end. Once we do that enough, we're going to flip this over, and there's a boss on the other side.
Something that we love about Sonic Roll is that it's semi-cooperative, 1 to 4 players. And when we say 1, we mean it. It plays solo really, really well. Some people say the sweet spot is 2 because you get a little bit of cooperation in there. I've played it up to 4, and I think it still goes really well. I think it's still a lot of fun. Also on the box, it's ages 14 and up because of the strategy, but I've played it with kiddos as young as like 6 or 7 years old, and as long as there's an adult at the table, they can roll dice and match them.
All right, Bob. And there we go. That's his last health. Egg Robos no more. The players win. Let's go. Oops. There's 4 scenarios to go through. There's Stardust Speedway, Lava Reef, and Chemical Plant. That all comes with the game. As you're going through the game, if you collect all 7 of the Chaos Emeralds and you beat all 4 stages, and the back of the rulebook, there's a secret section that we have stickied shut. It says don't open it until you've done those things, but you can place that open and unlock what's inside, and there's some pretty cool stuff. We all won together. It is a co-op game, but if we'd like, we have a scorecard here, and we can compare scores to see who kind of won the most.
I also like that there's a little bit of a competitive part where you can tally up the scores at the very end and see who.
It's that friendly rivalry that like Sonic and Knuckles has, right? Like you're both on the same team, but you like to rib at each other a little bit.
Yeah, that's me and my friends all the time.
And so Knuckles, we didn't get to see his ability, but Knuckles' ability is the Secret Passage. He actually has his very own zone card that only he can play on. And when you complete it, you get an automatic big ring reward. That was probably the most fun one to design. That one I really like, so I do like playing Knuckles a lot.
I'm just kind of floored. Just every time when it comes to like these board games, I feel like there's such a level of intricacy that you need to kind of incorporate that, you know, like video games, I think there's a kind of layer that makes it easy because there's a kind of progressional sense to it. But then when you make board games like these, you have to think of other layers to make sure that it flows well and that it's easy to follow, right? Because I feel like there are some games where it's like you have a whole rule book that you need to go through before you figure it out. But but games like this, most of the games that you've designed that I've played so far, it's like just kind of going through it, you kind of figure it out just like that.
Yeah, we're trying to make things that, like I said, they're built from the ground up to really respect and reference the IP. So that's what people I think are looking for in these games. They want things translated, but still into a fun board game.
Well, thank you for having me and testing this with me. This was a fantastic demo for sure. I think it's probably one of my more enjoyable ones.
Oh, that's great to hear. It was our pleasure.